DEMIGOD gang, we back for another video. Make sure y'all like, share, subscribe if you're new. We back for the gameplay reveal. NBA 2K27 complete gameplay of Rucker Park. We're gonna get straight to it. This is my career. I mean, my team, I believe.
NBA 2K27 gameplay breakdown,
Joe
man.
knows.
So I'm giving it to you a little bit more raw this year. We got the Rucker Park raw gameplay going on while we talk about things, and then I'm gonna cut to specific clips of what we're talking about. So like when we talk about dunking, for example, I'm gonna cut to some dunking clips so y'all can see it. But then instead of yapping around the same clips, I'm going to let some raw gameplay play so that y'all get the best of both worlds. Y'all get clips and y'all get raw gameplay so you can kind of be your own judge. You know what I mean? You'll actually be able to see the game as opposed to, you know, sometimes clips can be misleading in a good or negative way. So I hope y'all enjoyed the video. All I ask is that you drop a quick like. It takes 2 seconds and it's free. And let's get going. With pure green windows being smaller in NBA 2K27, it's going to be more important than ever to get the biggest green window jump shot for your specific build. And NBA 2K Lab has you covered. They have a bunch of free tools on their website, but what database can the every build into 2K27 is shot contests, right? That was the first thing they talked about in the gameplay reveal, shot contests. And to my frustration, and I'm gonna be honest about this, we were not able to change our settings in Play Now, Rucker Park, 2KU, all the stuff the embargo lifted on right now today. While y'all are watching this, we could not change our settings. So we couldn't turn on shot feedback. We couldn't turn off our shot meter. We couldn't change any settings. The only thing we could do on the main menu is change the difficulty. So all of the gameplays you're gonna see from me are on Hall of Fame. So when you see green windows for shots and dunks and layups and defense or whatever you're looking for,
he keep doing that Kobe snatch.
All on Hall of Fame. Okay, other people you might see different size green windows. That's probably because they were playing on lower difficulties. I put it on the hardest difficulty the whole time so we could get a real read on what we're looking at. But as I said, we could not turn on shot feedback, which was really frustrating because the main thing I wanted to see after 2K26 was how is that new shot contest and hands up and everything that we talked about. How is that looking? But not being able to turn on the actual shot feedback so we could see the visual feedback of the contest is tough to be the judge. I could sit here and tell you it felt better, it felt worse, this, that, and the third, but without the feedback, it's a lot of guessing games. The one thing I will tell you is that aggressive hands up versus passive hands up. The passive hands up, I felt like I was getting scored on anytime I tried to use it. Even in the paint, on the perimeter, anywhere I used the passive.
The passive hands up is where you put your hands down and it's like it puts your feet in the ground. That's where you playing like this. Like you body to body. Like nigga, you ain't scoring on me. Now hands up, you put your hands up, straight up. But they did say it give you a little jump at the end. So we gotta see how that works.
With the right stick that Mike was talking about, it felt like it almost felt like a waste of time. Like the AI was scoring on me every time. Maybe that's just an AI thing. I'm not sure. You know what I mean? The AI sometimes are really good at timing layups and close shots and things like that. But the aggressive hands up, that was something that I felt like it was a noticeable difference in terms of how many stops I was getting. Perimeter and paint. Felt like the contest on the aggressive hands up was much better than the passive hands up. So, you know, again, it's tough to actually judge it without the feedback being on and seeing what the actual, you know, those new 8 stages of contests and, you know, the open, bothered, semi-open, smothered, light contest, heavy contest, all the things they showed in the news. Without having that on, it's tough to actually give you a good assessment, and that's disappointing because obviously I go into community day trying to get as much information for you guys as possible, and the main thing I wanted to see in the gameplay was the shot contest. But as I said, we could not see the shot contest in Play Now, Rucker Park, and 2KU. We could not change our gameplay HUD, right? We couldn't take the meter off. We couldn't put on the shot contest feedback and all that. But tomorrow, the embargo lifts on the builder, my player gameplay, things like that. In there, we could change the gameplay HUD. So in there, you will be able to see contests, but obviously I'm not allowed to speak on that side of the gameplay. I'm not allowed to show that side of the gameplay until tomorrow. So I'm only allowed to speak on the gameplay here. And obviously, like I said, we could not put it on here. So that's about it. In terms of shot contest, that's about all I can say. So let's move on. Now let's take a break and talk about one of the new features, the step throughs. I'm not gonna lie, I like this. You could do it in the paint like that, like I just did with SGA, but you can also do it on the perimeter now, as Mike said. And you could do it any direction, left, right, forward, backwards, and I gotta lie, I like this. It's a creative way to get to a bucket. It's just another thing.
The 1v1 scene made, the 1v1 scene made that little, you pick the ball up, now you get another step. The 1v1 scene made that, bro. The 1v1 scene made that shit popular. Not everybody doing it.
To add to your bag.
I've never seen nobody in NBA take a stop, take another step, and then like do some bullshit.
We'll see how effective it is online, you know, person versus person and whatnot, and what people can come up with. But I just the way it looks and the mechanics behind it, I feel like it's smooth. The way it works as you would think it should work, if that makes sense. These clips in the 2KU are from my boy Joey 2K, because I got a couple clips like the SGA one and stuff, but I didn't get as many as I wanted. So shout out to him for sending me these clips so y'all could see a little bit more here. But I really like the way things branch out. It's smooth. It really does look the way you would want it to, in my opinion. Like, off the triple threat, whether you're doing like the reverse spin, like, you know, he's doing it with Kobe, because it is like really some Kobe, you know, some Kobe stuff. But it's just cool. I do really like this. A lot of times
Kobe
when they add new features, I'm kind of like, you know, like the rap.
Open a Chime checking account in 2 minutes, and we'll spot you up to $200. Apply now.
Pass last year, I'm just like, like that's, you know, whatever. But like this, yes, like I could get down with this, and I think it's gonna be. Oh my God, we're still hooking from the 3-point line. Jeez, Joey, we are. We're definitely going to see people utilizing this, and I think people that master it, it's going to be something crazy. Like, it's going to be a way that, like, I don't want to say bailout, because obviously it takes skill, you have to time it, but like, it's going to be a way to get like a bailout bucket, like a last, you know, the defender played good D, or they like you know, you're long running to the right, and you pump fake a fade, and they overplay and they jump, instead of just like waiting or Kobe jabbing like a lot of people would do last year. Now, like, you could branch back into a step through into a shot, and like the green windows on it felt like very greenable. So we'll see how it feels online when you're playing against a real person, but I do think there's a real possibility that like it actually is effective in online gameplay, even if you're like a more competitive player. Like, definitely in casual modes, it'll definitely, you know, rec and stuff, people are going to get down with that. But I think even like competitive players in Pro-Am are going to utilize the step through a lot more than you know, a lot of other new features that have been added in throughout the years. Let's move on to dunking, meter dunking. The dynamic dunk meter that's going to grow and shrink all the way.
I'm thinking about him right now. Why the fuck having Uncle Demi? I ain't seen that nigga posting forever. Am I tweaking? I ain't seen this nigga posting forever. Oh, he just posted. Okay. Oh, yeah, he ain't posting 4 weeks. He ain't posting no news, no nothing. That's wild. Oh, my bad. I'm tweaking. I'm looking at the wrong shit. Oh, this nigga do post every day. This build video making ass nigga. This nigga make a build about nothing. Nigga be making builds about nothing. Okay, that's fine.
Way through the gather all the way to the finish, all the way through the full dunk, right? Yes, it does do that. I can confirm that, as you're going to see. All right, right here, Kobe driving on Steph, Euro step into the meter dunk. Let's slow it down so you could see the meter. When he's between me and the hoop, it starts small, then it even shrinks a little, but then once I Euro step past him, it expands into a really big meter. But let's continue with dunking. Again, it felt like size mattered, like height matters in terms of finishing, and it's been like that for years. But like somebody like Giannis, for example, here's a play now clip with Giannis. He's an absolute monster. Now, obviously, it's Giannis. Like, his stats are cracked, and he's 6'11" and all that. But he, like, height, it was definitely easier to dunk with like bigger slashers than smaller slashers. That's not to say smaller slashers couldn't dunk. But just, you know, I'm just comparing it to past 2Ks where definitely height mattered in terms of your green window on dunk meters. It's like that again. It's definitely bigger dunkers are going to be harder to stop than smaller dunkers. But let's continue. Something else I noticed with finishing in general, but since we're talking about dunking, I'll relate it to dunking. In past years, I felt like interior, it mattered, but it definitely wasn't like a necessity. A lot of power forwards or centers were going, you know, low interior, and like as long as you just got between the guy and the hoop, you know, you could stop them very consistently. Even small guards like in Pro-Am and stuff, they would swing down out of the corner and stop the other team's center and shrink his dunk meter, even though, you know, it's a 6'4" guard with 25 interior and a 50 block, and the center's driving with, you know, really good finishing ratings. And it was just like, if you got there, you got there, and it didn't really matter the ratings. On this game, it felt way different trying to dunk on Wembanyama or Dennis Rodman or somebody with like really good interior, as opposed to like dunking on Steph Curry. Like it almost felt like, maybe so because of that new wall-up badge, they're really trying to make like the interior rating matter because they want people to use that wall-up badge. I'm not really sure, but typically dunk meter size was more about angles than it was about ratings. But in this game, it definitely felt like the ratings were playing a bigger factor. And maybe that was because I was playing against the AI, and full transparency, I don't play against the AI very often. I pretty much do it once a year, and that's at Community Day. But we'll have to see when it's person on person. But for the most part, from what I felt playing the game, the Community Day version of the game, it felt like interior definitely had a big impact on how easy it was to finish on somebody or how difficult it was to finish on somebody. To go along with the other factors, of course, you know, momentum, angle, positioning. And it's not to say it's impossible to stop somebody going to the basket. I mean, this is Tyrese Maxey stopping Michael Jordan going to the basket. And, you know, Tyrese is, what, 6'1" and low interior, low block. So it's not impossible. Obviously, your skill and the way that you play it and the angle you take and all, and their timing of the jump and all that still matters. But another thing I noticed with dunking, if somebody was just like in the restricted area and you were going downhill full speed at them, like you would put them in a poster and it would be greenable. I feel like in past years, like unless they were way under the hoop, like you'd get a decent window if they were way under the hoop. But if they were just like in the restricted area, a lot of times you would drive and like you would shrink your meter down all the way. When like in real life, it's like if they're standing under there and you have a full head of steam, you know, you got Michael Jordan running at you full head of steam, like you're in trouble. You know what I mean? A lot of dudes in real life would just bail out of there and just, you know what I mean? I'm not getting put on a poster. But in 2K, it was like your meter would shrink a lot of the times. It was definitely a noticeable difference in terms of if they're just down there in the dead zone, you could just go up and boom on them. But again, like if Wemby was down in that dead zone, it felt like it would shrink. So I don't know. Maybe that's just because Wemby's 7'4". Maybe it's the interior rating. There's a lot of unknowns. But overall, the dynamic dunk meter definitely worked. It was shrinking. It was expanding. It was shrinking back down. It was overall dunking, in my opinion, it felt really good. Like, honestly, maybe even too good. But we got to see when it's person versus person how it plays out, because it's always a little different against the AIs. But let's move on. So since we're on the topic of dunking, let's talk about standing dunks, kind of big man, paint scoring, post scoring. I'm going to encapsulate it all into one section.
Show me that win.
A little bit of post scoring.
Show me that win.
Post spins and stuff with Kobe and Jordan, LeBron. You'll probably see some more as the gameplay goes on. But now, besides Joey post hooking from the 3-point line for the second year in a row at Community Day, the step throughs are definitely something big men can utilize. But let's talk about paint mashing, right? Dead zone. Can you really mash something? This is Bam mashing and contact meter dunking with the standing dunk. But just for perspective, that defender from the Knicks has a 50 block and a 50 interior. Now, on the flip side of it, check out this clip. Giannis going against Jason Tatum right here. Tatum's got 81 interior and just walls up and takes Giannis out of a dunk and makes him miss the layup. Now, this gameplay is from Joey 2K, so I think the difficulty he said was on like All-Star or Pro. So it's a lower difficulty than what I'm playing on. So like the green window size of like that layup was definitely bigger than it would have been on Hoff. But again, like check out, this is back-to-back possessions here. Joey's trying to just rim run through Tatum, and Tatum with 81 interior compared to that 50 we just saw for the guy in the Knicks. Like, it's just a massive difference in terms of the animations you get. Like, it's just an absolute stonewall as opposed to just like going through them and just, you know, getting, you know, a push through and then your meter growing because now you're at the rim wide open. It's just, it felt night and day difference in terms of players with low interior versus high interior. We'll see when it's person on person, obviously. Like I said, take it with a grain of salt because it's against the AI. But it's just what we felt. And it's not that like when somebody had high interior, it was absolutely impossible to like finish on them. Pause. Like, I think there was actually a dunk earlier in this game where like Giannis was in the dead zone and I dunked on him with Kobe. So it's positioning and you know, timing of the jump and all that still matters for sure. But the point of this is just talking about meter dunking, driving, standing, paint mashing, and then also interior defense. And it just, the overall feeling was interior mattered more than it has in past years. So moving on, let's branch over to layups. Layups also felt really good, and you know, this is the perfect time to talk about it, so let's slow this down. I mean, again, it's against Steph, who has low interior and he's smaller, but this is on Hall of Fame, bro. Green window huge on that layup over Steph Curry. But I also just want to be clear, whether it's dunking, layups, it's not impossible to get stops without, you know, a high interior. Like right here, another Kobe versus Steph clip. He beats me to the spot, walls up, it's a tiny green window, I miss. Positioning, timing, whether you're using the aggressive or passive hands up contest, all that stuff definitely felt like it mattered. But overall, layups felt really effective. And again, maybe it's because it's against the AI. You know, the AIs guard things differently. I know I keep saying it's like, I just want to reiterate, everything here is like how it felt against the AI. Obviously playing against a human being is going to be different, but I'm just talking effectiveness, green window size, things like that. Like even the computer, there's times where I feel like in past 2Ks, I could bait them into a layup and then just block it, and it was definitely not as easy on this game. Like that technology Mike was saying, where like if you have a high layup rating, your player will like automatically try to avoid the shot blocker's hand. Like definitely notice that. Like I'm trying to chase some of these gameplays in Blacktop. I'm trying to like let Steph go for a layup and then try to chase him down with LeBron, who has like legend high flying.
Legend high flying denier. LeBron, legend high flying denier. I hate games like this. This shit right here pisses me off. Bitch, get your ass over here and just stay here for forever. All this thing I have to do is stay right here in the ones forever. That shit irritates me. Game
Denier and like no, like I definitely got a couple, but like there was a lot of possessions where like he would just like kind of maneuver the ball away from me and lay it up, and it just overall layups felt really effective. Everyone that I talked to, they felt really effective. Every time I went for a layup, the green window was very timeable. Now obviously I'm playing on players with really high layup ratings. I think LeBron, Kobe, and Jordan all have about a 99, like close to a 99, somewhere between 95 and 99 layup. And obviously Steph Curry has high layup. Like most of the players in the play now that we were using and Rucker we were using have really high layup ratings, so that could also be a factor. But everyone that I talked to, obviously can't talk about the my player stuff. I was about to slip up and break embargo, so let me chill. But everyone that I talked to, they all agree that layups felt really effective. We'll have to see how it feels when we actually get out there and it's person on person, you know, park, rec, pro-am, all that stuff. But that was the consensus from playing against the AIs in these game modes. So let's move on. Next thing to discuss, let's talk about shooting in general, right? Mids, threes, fades, hop jumpers, spin jumper. Let's talk about all that type of stuff, okay? So first things first, middies definitely felt a lot easier to green than threes. Threes, obviously you could green, or you know, you already seen a few in that Rucker Park. But let's talk about this, bro. Obviously we can't see the contest, but under his feet, the defense thing registers red. So like it's definitely like the defender is bothering me and I just right over him and green it. So definitely making contested shots are still possible. It was also a little tough to assess shooting because I could not take off my shot meter, and I don't know, maybe some of y'all still like playing with the shot meter, but to me it just, nah, like I gotta have my meter off so that I can really like feel right. And the fact that you couldn't see shot contests also really affects like what's a good shot, what's a bad shot. Obviously the easy, you know, what's the obvious ones you could tell, but it's like on 2K26 there's a lot of shots, if you had no shot feedback on, you would look at it and be like, oh, that was a bad shot, and then it registers open. So the shot contest system matters a lot in terms of assessing shooting. And the fact that, again, it was really frustrating in my opinion, the fact that we couldn't see the shot feedback in these modes was just yeah, it made assessing shooting overall very difficult. One thing about shooting that I really do like is the fact that they split up the mid-range and three-point shooting badges, kind of like how it used to be, you know, back in the day. But in recent years it was just like you had shifty shooter, that was for moving threes and moving mids, so you could like go high high mid-range and still have shifty for, you know, the moving threes, or vice versa, you know, high three-pointer and then still have shifty for your mids. It's like, now you know, you could be an average three-point player and an elite mid-range player, or vice versa, because, you know, the badges for those specific shots are now tied to the individual badges, which I think is a good thing. It hopefully should promote a little bit more diversity in kind of gameplay, play style. Like, you know, if you want to be an elite mid-range player, you got to upgrade your mid-range, not just like go high three-pointer, decent mid-range rating, and then you got the legend badges to go with it. You know, you kind of gotta commit to the way you want to play a little bit more, at least theoretically. We'll see how that plays out. Obviously, can't really discuss builder things and that until tomorrow, but overall I think splitting up the badges is a good move. I think it makes more sense. All right, as I go for this blitz steal, it's a perfect time to transition over to perimeter defense and bump steals and all that. In my opinion, they still felt really inconsistent. I'm not saying I didn't get any. I got a few, but some of these examples that I'm showing here, I don't know. Like, I'm committing. I'm not even playing defense. I'm just going completely on that side. I got Michael Jordan, 99 overall. He's got like 90 plus steal, whatever. And he just bobbles it and ends up getting a 3 off of it. I understand that you know, we're talking about, you know, ratings mattering, ball handle and steal, but I mean, this is, if we're talking ratings matter, I mean, that's Michael Jordan. He's got high steal, right? This is prime MJ. He's got high steal and the ball goes through me. Prime Kobe, the ball goes right through me. You know, maybe user on user it'll be different, but I feel like in those instances, there's no way I'm not dislodging the ball. Like, the first one, it didn't even make him bobble it. Tyrese just kept dribbling through me. And the second one I showed, he bobbled it a little, which then ended up putting me behind him, and he got a wide open 3. I got mixed reviews from people when I talked to them about bump steals. Some people, you know, thought they were good. Some people thought they were bad. In my opinion, they were still really inconsistent, and I felt like, you know, those two clips are perfect examples. Even the clip they showed in the trailer, the gameplay trailer where they showed Kevin Durant, I'll put it on the screen right here. Like, I don't know. Like, in my opinion, you should dislodge the ball there. Like, you're rewarding a bad decision by the ball handler by allowing him to get away with that. Perimeter defense as a whole, though, overall, it felt more sticky, more bumpy. Like, when you attach to somebody, it felt a lot, you know, I feel like sometimes in 26, it felt like they were like covered in oil and they would just kind of like slip past you if they like wiggled their left stick a little bit or something. You see, like, it feels like there's a lot more once you attach, like, you know, you, especially, you know, some of these guys like Kobe, MJ, like, they have really high perimeter. Yep. So, you know, obviously that probably plays a factor, but it wasn't impossible to drive by people, but it felt like when they cut you off, they really cut you off. It wasn't just like they cut you off and then you could like wiggle and slip through. It was like, well, okay, if you get bumped, it's almost like you kind of gotta like gather yourself. But like right there, like, you know what I mean? Like LeBron turns the corner and like, you know, they're not like dragging you backwards. Like once you turn the corner, you turn the corner. But overall, it just felt like, it felt a little more sticky. I guess that's the best way to describe it. Like right here, like you see, like I'm attached, I stay attached, I stay attached, I stay attached. Now, obviously, again, I keep saying it, I'm sorry, but it is against the AI, against the human being with optimized SIGs and my players and things like, and once everybody learns how to dribble and all that, we'll see. But against the AI, definitely felt a bit more sticky, a bit more bumpy. Felt like you could cut people off better as they tried to move if you know, beat them to the spot. All right, let's shift to dribbling. First things first, it's tough to assess dribbling on play now because obviously with our my players, we optimize the SIGs. We get the dribble style that gives us the good burst and all that. Obviously on play now, you're stuck with the SIGs that the NBA players have. So first reaction to it, a little concerned about the burst, but as I said, you know, with our my players, a lot of times, you know, we just find whatever dribble style gives us the burst, you know, the best burst, then we use that, and then all of a sudden it's like, all right, I'm moving the way I want to move a little bit more now. Obviously in play now, you're using the dribble styles that the NBA players have, so I don't know, some of the speed boosting, it didn't feel super explosive. But again, that could be dribble style related, and
you
that
should
could
put all
be fixed
dribblers
when we
on
get
the
our
court
my players.
All
Obviously can't
like
discuss
Kyrie.
my players today, so I'm just basing this off of the play now gameplay and the Rucker Park gameplay. But that was the first reaction, like, okay, I'm not really bursting how I want to burst. Chaining dribble moves together definitely felt really smooth. Fluent in terms of being able to branch out of things and branch into things. Obviously, I'm not like a super duper dribble head. I'm not Steezo or anybody like that. But, you know, I play guard and have a lot of success even at competitive levels playing for money, so I can assess it a little bit. But I did talk to some of the better dribbling content creators that are at the event. You know, I'm sure, you know, they're all Dirk, Chappa, like Koza. They're all going to be posting dribble stuff, and they had some concerns as well. You know, they had a little concern about the burstiness, and it wasn't super explosive. But obviously, as I said, it's like you got to wait to be able to put dribble styles on to really assess the burst, because a lot of past years, you know, the bursts were fine, but that was because we found the dribble style that gave it to us. You could quick stop. The quick stop I found was the LT quick stop right there that I just ran to the wing with Kobe. You know, just tap LT, it set my feet instantly, and I was able to shoot. Did it a few times. It worked pretty consistently. You know, maybe we find something better, but definitely I think we're going to be able to find a way to peak and quick stop threes. Just like past years. It might be, you know, last year was flick up. This, you know, it might be something different this year like LT, or maybe we find a better one, but should be able to quick stop and set your feet. So everybody that's looking to shoot peaks and stuff, you should be back in business with that. Next, let's talk about AI players. It was something they said that they enhanced, and I played against the AI quite a damn bit, so I can give some good insight on this. The AI is so much better. They definitely play better defense. They hawk passing lanes. Like if you throw any type of questionable pass, they were picking it out the sky. Pick six going the other way. Obviously, like I said, I played on Hall of Fame, so that's a factor. But they were like really. If I left them open, they were really consistent.
It's not a real
in terms
person.
of like
you get a bum ass AI.
Close shots.
AI, once you get an AI, you might as well.
I don't want to say everything, but it felt like
all niggas gonna do
everything
is run.
they would make.
3-2.
The AI seems really improved. I ain't gonna lie, we might be back on that thing where it's like you go to random rec and you're hoping your teammates quit because the AI is better than 85% of the people who play the game. Like we might be back on that. Obviously, like I said, it was on Hall of Fame slider, so I don't know if like when we play rec or something, I don't think the AIs are going to be on Hall of Fame sliders, but the Hall of Fame computer was very improved. Like obviously we don't know like all the cheese against the bots. Like we might find something like, you know, it used to be the jab step or the no dip. Like we might find something that works against the bot all the time, but the old stuff that works against the bot, not really. I mean, you can kind of get them sucked into screens sometimes a little bit too easily and like get like a snatchback 3 off or something. But overall, like compared to how it was, it's not just like last year where you could just throw it to somebody and just shoot the ball. Like the bots were playing that. You couldn't just do a jab step and shoot. Like the bots were playing
with
that.
The bot in the
so
corner,
obviously we know how the community is. Like people are going to try to find something else, and once somebody finds it, like everybody will cheese that.
The next nigga shooting over him.
That everybody was doing last year, where you just throw it and shoot a catch and shoot over the bot. From what I saw, obviously, again, I don't have my player jump shots on. I'm using NBA player jump shots and all that. Nah, like they're guarding that now. You're gonna have to find something else to beat the bot. You know, the jab step, no, like they're not just letting you jab step and then shoot a completely wide open 3. All that stuff that was driving me and y'all crazy in random rec when people would quit, that stuff has been fixed. All right, real quick on passing. I'll be honest, I did not pass the ball that much. Like obviously, you know, I'm controlling the whole team. I will just say some of the passes definitely felt floaty, but to be fair, I don't know everybody's pass rating, so it could just been like some of the people I was passing with had low pass accuracy. As I said about the AIs though, like if you throw a pass near the AI, they hawked it. So I think passing lanes, unless it's just the way the AI plays them, I think you're going to be able to get real hawky in the lanes if you're playing it correctly. But I didn't throw a lot of like break passes to test break starter or anything, because it's just you know, when you throw it to a human, the human is leaking and you're able to like really throw it down the court. When you're playing like Play Now or Rucker, like your teammates are not like running the break, you know, they don't leak out to get a break starter pass. So it's kind of difficult to test by yourself. The next thing is the takeover system. In my opinion, it is just so much better. It's so much more logical. You know, the days of dunking the ball 5 times and then popping deep bomber badge are gone. You know, the PG coming up the court, passing the ball for 6 possessions straight, and then all of a sudden, you know, he's got his sharp takeover, and now all of a sudden he's looking to score. Like you get takeover from what you do in the game. Obviously, if you saw the news, you knew that. But like now, it's like if you dunk the ball, you get finishing takeover. If you're passing the ball, you get playmaking takeover. You're shooting the ball, you get shooting takeover. Just so much more logical, and it really means like, you know, depending on how you're playing, that's the type of takeover you're gonna take the game over with what you're doing. It's just, it seems like such a simple fix, but it's been years I've been saying this, that that's the way it should be. You should be getting takeover in the way that you're dominating the game, and that's finally how it is. You've seen a couple here, I think, in the Rucker Park gameplays. I had it with Kobe right after I got a couple dunks. I got that finishing takeover. Seems like a really simple change, but in my opinion, it's a big W. I think it was long overdue, so that's beautiful. And the last thing I'll touch on is the fact that 2K made the announcement that they are addressing the cheating problem. I really hope they're able to. I think it would bring a breath of fresh air to not just competitive modes, but casual modes. I mean, the cheaters were everywhere. Look, you know what I mean?
He playing, look, this what cheating do. Cheaters will do this right here. Say you playing on this speed right here. Watch this. Them cheaters, they'll change your motherfucking speed to, say we have 1. You see we had 1? They'll change your shit to this right here. You'll be playing like that.
Against
Yo has to be playing like this, and while they playing fast as hell. That's what cheaters used to do. That's the prime example right there. Niggas be playing like this.
Streams against them, like, it would just be a breath of fresh air if they're actually able to
change your shit to this.
The punishments that they're talking about, and really like find a way to eliminate this whole problem.
Why they playing like this?
It's gonna be easier said than done, but it was
they
nice
be
to hear
playing
them
like
actually
this. Why you playing like this?
And make us aware that
hey,
obviously they're aware of it, they're working on it, and going into 2K27 they are ready to try and combat these cheaters. It's a beautiful thing to hear. But if y'all want to check out an hour of raw NBA 2K27 gameplay where I'm using multiple teams, multiple different superstars, and testing all these new gameplay changes, click that.
Man, that's Joe Knows, man. Thank y'all for watching. That's the NBA 2K27 gameplay breakdown. Like and share if you're new. And Demigod Gang, I'm out.